America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bob. Hold up.
Happy Pi Day to everybody out there, as it is Monday for us here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Buckman. He is the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet Eric Strickland. Strick, do you celebrate Pi Day? Have you had a pie yet?
Not today. I was I was really looking at going to get not necessarily a pie, but there was something I was craving from California Pizza Chicken. They've got this it's like a pound cake, and it's really warm, and you put some ice cream on top of it. I was really craving that, but I held myself off. I'm such a dessert guy, man. I freaking love dessert, and that's probably my biggest problem after retiring and not playing anymore is craving desserts. And so I have to monitor myself. Otherwise, I'd freaking eat it every day. I probably try to eat it maybe once a week. So that way I'm not freaking a big horse by the time that everything is said and done. So I really am kind of chill on monitoring how much intake that I have, because I just love dessert. You used to be able to eat it quite often when you played, but shoot, you eat that stuff now, man. I'd blow up like a freaking, pig in a pigsty.
Yeah, I'm just hitting that wall myself for the last year or so, because I became a father, which usually, and then you transition into the dad bod. I didn't realize how quickly that happened. I gained weight while my wife, who was obviously pregnant, gained weight. She lost it all right after giving birth to the baby, and I still have it all. And now I just can't eat whatever I want. I've hit a wall here now. My metabolism doesn't quite work like it used to. So
it doesn't work. It doesn't work the same, bro. And it's so easy to put on, and it is the hardest thing to put off. And then there's so many different things out there, right? There's ketos, and then there's Atkins, and then there's all these, and then just some of them don't work for certain people. And so you're just trying to figure it out. And so for me, it's minimizing, a certain amounts of foods that I eat, spiking my freaking insulin. And so carbs are probably the thing that hurt me the most. And I'm a freaking pasta lover. I love what you say. What I love cheese.
I like bread.
I like bread. That's it. And that is my problem. I freaking love bread. And that is the freaking word.
I see people with sandwiches too. They'll like take one of the bread pieces off to make it a little bit healthier, and I just go, "That's not a sandwich."
Yeah. I can't do that. No.
But maybe you don't have to go to the Big Mac all the way, where you just like add bread just for fun. So who knows? You got to find a nice medium. But like you said, it's all in moderation. That's maybe you can have a small dessert here and there, but as long as you keep it small, it won't be too bad. But of course, it is like I said, it is Pi Day. It is spring break. Did you partake in spring break when you were in college, or I guess even in high school? I suppose people have fun. Do you ever have any fun travel plans on spring break?
Man, wasn't able to really do that stuff because remember early on I was playing baseball, so I wasn't able to be a partaker too much. I mean, I think probably the best one I got to go to, I think, was we all went down to Padre Island. That was probably the best spring break thing that I got to participate in. I never got to go to Daytona and any of those places that people were going to, but it's the same thing that when I was playing in basketball, most of the fun stuff was happening right when freaking basketball season. So
it does. Being an athlete does take it taxes your schedule a little bit. So you don't get to do all the fun stuff at times, but still you to live a pretty good life. I never really partook too much in spring break either, for what it's worth. Maybe it's just because the locale of where I was also I guess live events at the time. But I was talking to Nate, who obviously does the Ticket Water Cooler, our producer now, and being in Virginia, like, it's a short drive to go anywhere on spring break. Like, you got, because I got to from Nebraska. you can't really go. I mean, if you can go to Kansas City, it's still cold. There's, it's not
right.
So if you have to make it to one of the destinations, it's more of a plan than just being on the coast. Where it's like, yeah, we're gonna take a 3 or 4 hour trip down, to a certain beach and have some fun. So it's just kind of interesting how that happens. Spring break does. I did bring it up though because Nebraska football practice is halted because of it. So they had their scrimmage on Friday, and now won't get back together until, I don't know, next week sometime. I think Monday probably would be the time. I didn't check in exactly when that is, but I know there's no activity there today or this week. But I do know that there's plenty of activity in college basketball, not today, but in the next several days. Quite a weekend. It was kind of fun to break down what was going on there. But now that the tournament bracket is set, do you have any first thoughts about it? Maybe a difficult bracket or a team favorite that you have there, a difficult draw for a Big Ten team, or what were kind of your thoughts overall on the bracket reveal?
Well, to be honest, I think that the East for Purdue was a great land for them, especially where they're coming from. I think they've got a pretty good chance of making some noise out of that side of the bracket with their size and with their ability to play defense. Obviously, Kentucky would be somebody. Even don't slip on Murray State. Murray State, with their talented, guard play as well as just their ability to move and move offenses and play well. Murray State has a chance to, if Kentucky gets by, to clip a Kentucky type team with their style of play. I think Purdue has a good shot at making some noise on that side of the bracket. On the other side, you got to watch out for Iowa. I mean, Iowa's probably one of the hottest teams right now. If we're talking Big Ten, they're one of the hottest teams right now. I think the hardest road probably is going to be from that Wisconsin side going through Auburn. USC's not bad. They're pretty good. They match up very well with a Wisconsin type team. And then, obviously, coming out the other side with Providence and getting a chance to get a look at Kansas or Creighton. I mean, I think, Iowa could make some noise as well. They're dangerous on their side of the bracket. Other than that, man, I think it's very open. I don't see anybody that's very dominant on any side of the South. Obviously, Gonzaga strong. They've got a not too crazy of a route to get there to that final, segment of the NCAA tournament. There's not much on their side of the bracket that scares me other than Duke. But yeah, those are some of the things that I can see. There's going to be some upsets. There's going to be some teams get clipped, and it's not going to be fun, to watch some of these teams that have put all their hearts and everything into it for this time, and then to watch them go out not the way that they expected, but definitely maybe get clipped in the early segments of the tournament.
Yeah, and it's fascinating too, just to see how the tournament bracket was created, where you have a 17-14 Michigan out of the Big Ten. The Big Ten had the lead again with 9 teams in the tournament. No other conference had more than 6. But how do you feel about a 17-14 Michigan who doesn't have too many huge wins on the season? I mean, they have a lot of good losses, even their out of conference losses where, to the Seton Halls, the Arizonas, the North Carolina types, but they didn't have too many, overly impressive wins, despite playing in the Big Ten, despite having the opportunity to do it more often than not. Now they did beat Purdue and Iowa, and Rutgers. So I mean, you can throw those in there. They've got some quality wins. I'm not saying that they don't, but 17-15. At the same time, a Texas A&M school team that just had 23 wins gets left out. They just went on the weekend run and making it all that way to the SEC championship, having to run through Auburn and Arkansas to get there. And I'm not just calling out Michigan in there, but I mean, I think that shows you the level of respect for the Big Ten. But I don't know if I feel comfortable with Michigan making it and Texas A&M not, especially what they've been doing over the last couple of weeks. Just getting to 23 wins.
Yeah, with a run like that, I find that very hard, and for them to have an 11th seed, I think that's very generous. That's very generous. You know what I mean? For them to pop in that way, that's a scary thing when you look at like what is the criteria? What is the decision making process when they're looking at that? And it seems to be very lackluster right now with the way that they're doing it. But hey, kudos to them. Shout out to Juwan Howard and the Michigan Wolverines. I mean, they're in. So we're going to see if them getting that high of a seed, getting that type of, just entrance the way that they entered in is going to be something that people are going to be talking about. Us here on the block are going to be talking about after the first weekend. If they get ousted, it's going to be definitely a lot of talk, especially Texas A&M is going to have a lot of, qualms to have about that, no doubt.
Well, it's fascinating, too, when you just look at it from the Big Ten side of things, especially the way that the tournament played out, where Iowa made their run. They were one of the hotter teams in the Big Ten the second half of the season, and I think they were, would prove to be the hottest team by the end. But, the other side of it is the co-champions in Wisconsin and Illinois for the regular season, and then you have Purdue kind of sitting there who's been ranked above everybody else the rest of the year. With that many teams, obviously there's respect out there for the Big Ten. I just don't know if there's anticipation of them getting to the Elite Eight. Is that kind of how you feel? Who would you, bracket aside, because some of it's the draw, who would you have the most confidence in getting to the Elite Eight? Is it Jaden Ivey, probably a top 5 pick, along with Zach Edey and that height there at Purdue? Is it Illinois? Is it Kofi Cockburn? They've got a lot of weapons around them, despite the fact that the team's been running with a little bit of pink eye yesterday, unfortunately, showed up on the Illinois team. Is it Iowa because they're hot? Do you think Wisconsin is in position, even though they've dropped a few games over the last couple of weeks? It's hard for me to pick a best team in the Big Ten. It's been hard to do that all year long. And then as things play out, you get co-champions, a different team winning the tournament. It's, you're kind of right where you were the whole season trying to figure out the best team in the league.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride of who's who and a lot of surprising upsets and things of that nature. I just personally think, as I look at the brackets, I think Purdue probably has the best opportunity because matchup wise and who they have in their sides of the bracket. I mean, if they do things, if they dominate, if they attack the boards, if they execute and they don't turn the ball over, I think they have enough there in order to make a nice run at it. They have consistency. They have the abilities to do multiple things inside and out. So I think of that. I think Illinois probably has the best chance of getting clipped, as well as probably Wisconsin. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of inconsistencies there. I mean, they have great shooting. Obviously Johnny Davis is there, but I don't know if inside wise they have enough to make me fearful of anything that they're going to do, in that position. But we'll see. I mean, I really think Purdue and a hot Iowa, if they stay hot, they can make some noise. But I to be honest, I don't see anybody really going deep. I don't see nobody going to the Final Four out of the Big Ten, and that's very unfortunate, being that they get 9 teams in all regularly for the last few years. So I don't see anybody maybe other than a Purdue or Iowa that could probably jump into the Elite Eight. I just don't see them in the 4.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for any team, obviously, to do that. But it is, like we said, it's hard to pick a team. That being said, the Big Ten, I think part of the respect also goes along with the individual players here. And, as we watch the tournament over the years, kind of senior leadership guard play usually helps determine a champion and those teams that make a run. But as you look at the best players in the Big Ten, you've got some guys there that took some huge steps. So I think when you're looking at the best players overall in this tournament, the Johnny Davises, the Jaden Iveys, the Keegan Murrays, the Kofi Cockburns, even EJ Liddell, they have to be high on that list. And so we'll see if the star players can kind of get it done, and see if the carryover from the tournament works for a team like Iowa. It's kind of hit and miss sometimes those tournament teams, maybe by the time
you blow your wad, huh?
Yeah, by the time you get to the big tournament, you're spent. You've worked all year as much as you can to get to the big dance or to win that tournament that you're kind of tired. Sometimes you get the team rolling and you get it going. I think those UConn teams, Kemba Walker, kind of think about them getting things going in the Big East there. So it's fascinating, and it's one of the best times of the year, the favorite times of the year for any basketball fan as things get rolling. So we'll look at this and we'll try to break down the matchups a little bit better for you as the week goes on. We'll dive into it a little bit more. Ohio State, in my mind, has the worst opportunity of getting too far. They're the 7th seed. First, they have Loyola Chicago, and then they're probably going to face either Villanova. And then if they get past them, it's matched up to be the 3 seed Tennessee in the Sweet 16. Those are a couple hot teams, both conference champions. Like we said, we already know kind of what Loyola Chicago was able to do last year. And Ohio State's just been really struggling down the stretch, including that loss to Nebraska. So if I think of any team that I expect to get knocked out early, that's my little teaser for you as far as predictions as we go throughout the week. We do have Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star set to break things down with us here in a second. I did want to mention this to you real quick. Trevor Lake's announcing that he's going to the transfer portal. He'll be a grad transfer and is actually seeking probably a medical redshirt here in order to play again. What do you think that the player interviews are happening right now? Is that kind of what's going on here? Is this probably a guy going, just making a personal choice?
I think it's also making room. I think it's making room. I think it's also just him looking at who's coming, what's there, what are opportunities. He missed a season, had an extra season, and wasn't able to take advantage of that. I think he's just looking for an opportunity to enjoy the fruits of what college basketball has to bring to him, and he's looking for the best opportunity to do that and where he can do that at. So yeah, throw your name in there. Hopefully, be able to get a medical red shirt and be able to find the place that's best suited for you and your talent, and go there and have a great run at it for your last year.
And of course, Charlie Easley, a good example of that, a guy that was with Nebraska last year, moves on to South Dakota State. Now he's a primary, one of the best players on a tournament team. So maybe part of it might just be looking for playing time and opportunity. Things just injury wise, things haven't worked out great for Trevor Lake since he got here. Maybe it's just a fresh start. All that stuff probably playing into it. But Trevor Lake has hit the transfer portal. And for what it's worth, as we've seen in the past, transfer portal, maybe you can get recruited back to your own team if there's any huge diehard Trevor Lakes fans out there that hope he's in Nebraska Red. But it's not looking like that's going to be the case next season. We're going to take a quick break here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket. Coming up next, we have Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star and, of course, of Early Break. So we'll break some of these things down. What does he think about Tom Brady's return? The tournament set. We'll even get some Husker football questions in there as well. Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star coming up next year on the blog.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SEC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possible.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from Certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
The middle of March is here, and you know what that means. It's time to get to Buffalo Wings & Rings at 68th and O for our yearly party for the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament. Join us this Thursday and Friday for beer, food, basketball, great prizes, and sports talk. We'll be on location both days from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the first 64 people to stop by on Thursday get a draw for a ping pong ball with a team and attorney on it that can lead to great prizes if that team makes the Final Four. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket this Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings & Rings, 68th and O.
Wedding season is underway. Stop wearing your fading, wrinkling shirts and update your wardrobe today at M Suits Clothiers in Lincoln. M Suits has men's clothing for every occasion, from business to leisure to weddings and formals. And they've been chosen by Lincoln as best of men's clothing for 4 years running. The buying process is quick and easy with personal service that's hard to find. And they're family owned, where you are also treated like a part of the family. M Suits Clothiers, just south of 56th and Pine Lake on Red Rock Lane.
Join 93.7 The Ticket tonight, Monday, March 14th, from the Upside Bar and Lounge on 27th and Pine Lake for Ticket weeknights. Nicole Griffith will kick things off from 6 to 8 p.m., followed by Talkin' Tens with Michaela Curtis and Kinsey Roby from 8 to 9 p.m. From 9 to 10, it's Husker swimmer and diver Reagan Hinsey and Audrey Coffey, leading up to our final show of the evening with Amari Smith-Spates and Gwen Maea for In the Pocket from 10 to 11 p.m. Stop by, hang out, and enjoy $3 taco baskets paired with their large selection of house-made margaritas. That's all tonight, live from the Upside Bar and Lounge on 27th and Pine Lake.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Sun Valley Lanes and Games is now offering spring sand volleyball leagues. Sand volleyball leagues are 9 weeks long beginning April 3rd. Registration's available online at sunvalleylanes.com. Use the promo code 93.7 to save 5%. That's sunvalleylanes.com, promo code 93.7. Volleyball not your thing? They also offer fun cornhole and bowling leagues. Visit sunvalleylanes.com for complete details.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
The Cash Blast promotion from the Nebraska Lottery is back. Until April 12th, when you buy a 2x2 ticket and enter the voucher number online, you could win a $5,000 or $500 cash prize. And if your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw 2x2 ticket, your cash prize is doubled. There will be 7 weekly drawings and 14 total winners in the Cash Blast promotion. Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery. You can win $5,000 or $500. Promotion ends April 12th, 2022. 2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies at times. It will be windy and cooler. We'll top out near 56, but north winds could gust 25 to 30 by later this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy, low dropping down to 26. We'll see increasing sunshine tomorrow and warmer temperatures as we'll bounce back to around 63. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Home Builders Association of Lincoln and Bombers Garage are proud to sponsor this year's Cruisin' for the Trades car show on May 1st. It's the first major car show of the season, and they have 20-plus big trophies for muscle cars, old cars, classics, trucks and bikes, EVs, and anything in between. Register your car today at hbal.org and enter into as many categories as you wish for the show at SCC's campus at 88th and O. Proceeds from the event go to the Lincoln Home Builders Care Foundation to support careers in construction. Register today at hbal.org.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And things have obviously been pretty challenging lately with new vehicles, with all the microchip and supply chain issues, but things continue to loosen up as Koppel gets more and more new vehicles in each and every week. We've had many customers also custom order their vehicles. So if you don't see what you want in our current inventory, we can put an order in to get exactly what you want. So go online, reserve your new vehicle at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Buckman. He is Eric Strickland, the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet. And we're working on getting Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star here in a second. We'll talk here in a little bit about Kyrie Irving as well, as he had a pretty good weekend. It was kind of an interesting weekend, though, as he also did not play yesterday, but did show up to the arena, which he's allowed to do, as unvaccinated as he is. But the coordinates, the problem still in New York is they've got, if you're the business, then you can't employ or can't have a guy on the court at the time. So it's kind of a bit silly. But unfortunately, he did, I guess, he went into the team's locker room even when he was not playing as a fan. And because of that, the Nets will now be fined $50,000 for violating local New York City law and league health and safety protocols. It's all getting a bit silly out there in New York City. But I think it was, I think this is probably the most silly it's gotten so far. Right, Strick?
It is the... All I can do is laugh, bro. Like, he's sitting there in the spot and he can't play in the spot. That is the biggest oxymoron that I've ever.
Yeah.
It's oxymoronic all the way around, just that whole thing. But no, New York has always been different. New York has always kind of played and went by their own drum. And for me, I just think it's crazy. But other people can come, Veed or not Veed, and play. But
yeah, from outside, other teams can come in.
The crazy. But hey, I'll never understand the full scope of what the NBA and their thinking, or even the organization in itself. It's maybe that's why they haven't won anything in so long. It's
well,
crazy.
you'd think by the time the playoffs come around, I don't know if the fine would get significantly more, but I'll shell out $50,000 to whoever wants to for Kyrie in the playoffs, right? I mean,
there's
the
the
Nets,
worst
obviously.
things that they've done. Yeah, take the fine. I mean, get him in there. I think him being there does make a significant difference. I mean, KD is very capable of getting things done if he wants to, but to have somebody an offside, a Batman, and a Robin being Kyrie Irving, that's a great Robin to have. So he's always reminded me of his uncle, Rod Strickland, and his package. Now his high handles is tremendously more than Rod, but Rod had some pats and Rod was stronger than Ox, and his trick package around the basket was sick. So yeah, he's something that you don't want to miss when it comes down to the playoffs, no doubt.
Let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline and join ourselves here, or I guess joining us now is Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star. Steve, how are you doing today?
Well, I'd say good, I guess it just dawned on me. I don't think about it every day, but Bach, you got a pretty good advantage having Strick during the NBA when the NBA playoffs start kicking up. Man,
oh yeah,
that would be some good radio. Yeah, that was interesting. What I didn't know that about Rod Strickland, that he was as strong as an ox and had a trick bag around the rim. But I do remember him.
Yeah. Rod was quite sick, man. I mean, people ask me a lot, like, who are the toughest people to guard outside of the ones that you would consider the Jordan, the Kobe's, so forth and so on. But Rod Strickland was one of those guys for me. He was strong. He wasn't, he just got the job done. I mean, he turns the corner and he had so much that he could do with that ball that you just, he made him tough. And he was a tough one for me. Definitely one of the toughest.
Yeah. Those are names. That's the kind of name that when you think about that era, doesn't usually pop in your head first, but he was a great player for sure.
Yeah. And Sip, I know you're a bit of an NBA fan, and I think you liked LeBron. Are you having having problems dealing with how bad the Lakers are? I know he just passed 10,000 assists, could even being the scoring leader this year, but obviously things have not worked out in La La Land.
Yes. Here's the thing. That West Coast affects me, so I just don't see him because I got an early show. So it's not like I lost track of LeBron. But I started gravitating in the last couple years more towards Kevin Durant. I just really like Durant's hard edge. I don't, there's a lot about Durant. Well, I mean, there's a bazillion things to like about him, but mostly I like his hard edge. And I started kind of, if I had to pick a favorite player in the NBA right now, it'd probably be Durant. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm confused about the Lakers. I just don't understand how I know there's a lot of theories on it, and the ones I hear make sense, but it's still strange to me how it could go that bad with LeBron,
Yeah, I'll jump into the college level too. Over the weekend, Iowa won the Big Ten tournament. I don't know how much you were able to watch that, but is there a blueprint there, I suppose, for Nebraska, given Iowa's, geography, in the Big Ten? Is there a reason Nebraska can't be Iowa basketball, or is that asking a lot considering Iowa's having like All-Americans filter through that program?
Oh, Iowa's got more talent as a state than Nebraska. Now, you can take me on that, but if you just look over the course of time, if you go back to Eric's time, for instance, the state of Iowa, think about, Eric will remember, and Bach, and I'm not selling you short, Bach. You know this stuff really well. Think about Kansas's rosters over the years. How many Iowa players they have. The two that come to mind are Rafe LaFrance and the kid from they had a guard from South Sioux City.
Yeah.
That was really good. So, and over the years, Kansas fortified its roster with Iowa players. Iowa. Look at the guys they have on their team now. Keegan Murray and his brothers from Cedar Rapids. Obviously, the coach's sons, the McCaffreys, are from Iowa. That kid brought off the bench yesterday. Sanford's his name. He's from Iowa. He had 10 points in that game yesterday. Bohannon's an Iowa kid. Hey, I mean, Bach, I haven't seen any Keegan Murray come through Nebraska recently, unless you're going to say Hunter Salas, but that's not he's not 6'8" or 6'9". So no, I think it's different. The state of Iowa has produced more talent than Nebraska in recent years, so I don't think there's a formula there. I don't think Nebraska could do that. Now, here's the other thing about it, though, and I did watch a lot of Big Ten basketball this year, a lot. I mean, I saw every Nebraska game, so I saw all those opponents. Iowa, I mean, Bach, that's their first Big Ten tournament championship since '06, and they haven't been to the Sweet 16 since 1999. So it's not like they're not just killing it all the time. But certainly, and if you look at, now you'd have to look this up, but I'm pretty sure Fran McCaffrey hasn't won more than one game in the Big Ten tournament until this year. So I don't know if I'd be looking at their blueprint. Certainly it looks good this year, and I love them. I really like them to go far in the tournament. I like what they're doing. I mean, they're hot, number one. And number two, they make offense look easy, but also now they're playing a little defense at Iowa. So, yeah, I like them. I think they could go pretty far in this tournament. I know Clark Kellogg has them going to the Final Four, and I wouldn't predict them that far with a lot of confidence, but I could see it.
Hey, Sip, the ladies, let's go over to the other side. The ladies found themselves in an 8 seed. They start off with Gonzaga. They find themselves in the bracket against a Louisville team that is definitely a pretty strong women's team. But when you look up and down that side, I mean, there's not much resistance if they can have a good run. What do you see if they can make a good run at it? Do you see some potential of them being able to clip a Louisville and make a run at getting pretty deep into this tournament based on where they put themselves at in the bracket?
Well, yeah, Eric, here's the deal. The 8 seed in the women's tournament, it can be a problem because, the top 16 seeds in the women's tournament are home. They get home court. I mean, Louisville, you got to beat Louisville on its home court to advance. Now, Eric, I would call that a tough draw. All right. Louisville is really athletic. And I know Jeff Walls really well, their coach, because he was here. He was an assistant for Paul Sanderford at Nebraska. And Walls has got it going at Louisville. It'll be a bear. That game, if Nebraska is fortunate enough to beat Gonzaga, I'm telling you, Eric, that I don't like the draw. And first of all, I think Nebraska should have been higher seeded than 8.
I thought so too.
I think they should have been a 6 or 7. And I'm telling you, an 8 seed, 9 seed in the women's side is a death sentence. It's a tough situation because the top 16 seeds overall get home court. So you're playing a highly seeded team on its home court in the second round.
Yeah, and generally it seems like in women's basketball too, those top teams really separate from kind of the middle of the pack. So that's interesting too. I didn't want to jump this. We're jumping all over with you, but now spring football obviously underway. Spring break this week, so they're going to take a week off or whatever. And I think it get back going on Monday. But what's kind of been interesting to me is Casey Thompson is expected to be the starter here, and we'll see how that plays out. But he's really been any chance he's really had to talk about is very impressed with the NIL opportunities here at Nebraska. Now, as Nebraska fans, that was kind of something we were excited about. We kind of thought that that could be a benefit for Nebraska. But as comparing it to Austin, Texas, the Texas Longhorns, that would be another team that I would put right up there. And it sounds like Casey Thompson has been more impressed, and he's the last thing I heard from him, he's going to have to take a break from some NIL opportunities so he can focus a little bit more on football. Does it surprise you that Nebraska is at that range? And do you believe that they can compete with the Texases of the world? Because I guess my thought on it is maybe if it like a Colt McCoy type level star at Texas, I don't know if Nebraska has the ceiling if a Texas player is a Heisman type of guy to compete with, but maybe they do.
Here's what I'd say about Nebraska's NIL structure. It is, and I say it a lot, but I don't mind talking about it because I think it's interesting. they are as well organized and well heeled I can't believe there's 5 teams in the country that would be better. In fact, I'd put Nebraska definitely their organization against almost anybody. I mean, and I'll tell you what's interesting about it. I think Nebraska, and it's ABM is what it's called, athletes. I think it's athletes branding and marketing, but it's ABM. And they've deliberately kept it pretty low key, Bach. It's kind of Nebraska's style to do so. I wouldn't say, though, well, all I'm saying is this, Bach. There's a lot of money there, okay?
Mhm.
Okay? It's really well run. It's really organized. It is not fly-by-night. And Jared Lambrick runs it, and he is a CEO. It's a complex organization. And at Nebraska, it's not just a football matter. I mean, they're taking care of volleyball at a high level. I'd say women's basketball, certainly football. So no, nothing surprises me when I hear Casey talking about it. I'm kind of glad he talks about it because I don't think the average Nebraska fan understands that right now Nebraska sort of has this low key advantage that is, it's too early I guess it's sort of early to be calling it an advantage, but it could be. So it could become more of one, depending on how the rest of the country reacts. And by the way, there's pending litigation that would push the NIL into the schools and make the schools in charge of paying players, which would change the whole dynamic. But right now, as the dynamic is right now, Bach and Eric, I'm telling you, Nebraska is on the high end in terms of structure, organization, and amount of money.
Wow. So listen, spring break, obviously spring break is here, so they are taking a little break. But thus far, what are some of the things that you're hearing coming out of the camp as far as who's making noise, who is everybody kind of talking about, who is doing something unusual that is really just getting the eyes of the coaches, the staff, and those really excited about the upcoming spring break game. I mean, the spring game as well as the season upcoming.
Yeah, now Eric, you got to understand when I do this, I'm not people. I know there's some fans who kind of roll their eyes and say, "Oh, there's another media guy pumping up Nebraska." I'm not doing that. I'm just going to answer your question, and I'm going to tell you some guys that have taken a step forward or made big impressions. And I would say I would start at running back, and I would say right now I think there's some guys that have asserted themselves at a level that leads me to believe these will be the guys. And I'd say Jaquez Yant's one of them. I mean, he's really opened eyes early. I would say Anthony Grant, who's the transfer running back from the New Mexico Military Institute, 5'11", 210. And what I've heard from people who watch practice, smart people, that he's a slashing, tough runner, just like you see on his video.
He reminds you of like an Ahman Green type.
I'm not going to compare him to anybody. Just I'll say this, Eric.
Style.
The type of guy that Nebraska used to have all the time. I mean, I don't want to put him in a category, but he's a bigger back that runs really well between the tackles, and he's tougher than hell. And Jaquez, man, people send me videos. That number 0 looks like a different guy to me. And I still watch Rahmir. I mean, Rahmir Johnson can play, and now he might be more situational, but I believe they have to find Rahmir a spot in this thing. His hands are good. He's a good runner. I mean, I really admire a kid that small to attack the line of scrimmage the way he does. I got it. And okay, so those are 3. Trey Palmer's the real deal. Which no surprise, he caught 30 passes at LSU last season. He's a slot receiver that they're going to count on. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't mind saying that. And I don't mind saying that Tommy Hill at corner is going to be a guy they count on. I don't. It's clear to the coaches right away if it's the season opener in Dublin, and they have Quentin Newsom at one corner and Tommy Hill at the other, that's what I expect. Safety, that kid Marquise Buford has made a big jump, and he could win a starting safety job. Miles Farmer's there from last year, and then I'd watch Deshaun Singleton. I'd really watch. I think Singleton gives them an option there. Singleton's like you, Eric, bigger kid, 6'3", 210, physical presence there, and they're watching him close. Offensive line's been all right. They had a scrimmage on Friday. I was told that the quarterback play was functional. It wasn't anything flashy, wasn't anything crazy. But I mean, mostly you heard Whipple on Wednesday say his goal was just limit the turnovers. And I think they did. Again, quarterback functional, not, wasn't, there weren't winning Heisman trophies in that deal. But so that's what I've heard. That's the main things I've heard.
Excellent breakdown there, Sip. And we got one last question with you. We started with the Browns, so we got to finish with Tom Brady over here. How surprised were you to see Tom Brady unretire just a few weeks after retiring? I don't know. I'm interested in what you guys think, both of you. It never surprises me, really. These guys, it's hard to turn it off. And I think what happens, and Eric can speak to this much more than I can, but Bach, we can speak to it as non-ers too, non-athletes. You know what? When the season ends, you're tired, right? You're mentally drained, you're physically drained, you're emotionally drained. You put so much into it. And maybe at that time you think, maybe it's just time to move on. But then you regenerate, and you start, all those, it's your life. All those things that you're used to doing start to kick back in. And if he feels good, it makes sense. So no, it didn't. You know what? I was kind of getting ready for the show yesterday, reading stuff, and that popped on Twitter. And you know what? My reaction was not surprise. It really wasn't. I mean, it doesn't. You see it so often in sports. I'm a boxing fan, and you guys, if you follow boxing, you know that guys retire all the time, then come back. So, it doesn't really surprise me. Excellent stuff once again from Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star and of Early Break. Steve, thanks for catching up with us this week.
All right. Keep up the good work, both of you. Take care.
All right, there he goes. Steve Sipple of the Lincoln Journal-Star. Thank you. And there he goes. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time for Shootout with Strick. I suppose it's especially interesting this week as the tournament is getting going. So if you want to be a winner before the tournament even starts, you get your chance right now. 402-464-5685. Call in. The first person to call in will be our contestant today for Shootout with Strick. Your chance for $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. That's coming up next here on the Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
The middle of March is here, and you know what that means. It's time to get to Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for our yearly party for the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament. Join us this Thursday and Friday for beer, food, basketball, great prizes, and sports talk. We'll be on location both days from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the first 64 people to stop by on Thursday get a draw for a ping pong ball with a team and the tourney on it that can lead to great prizes if that team makes the Final Four. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket this Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O.
Wedding season is underway. Stop wearing your fading, wrinkling shirts and update your wardrobe today at M Suits Clothiers in Lincoln. M Suits has men's clothing for every occasion, from business to leisure to weddings and formals. And they've been chosen by Lincoln as best of men's clothing for 4 years running. The buying process is quick and easy with personal service that's hard to find. And they're family owned, where you are also treated like a part of the family. M Suits Clothiers, just south of 56th and Pine Lake on Red Rock Lane.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
You just kind of feel a little more settled with a guy like Trev Alberts leading the way. I think that's a big part of it.
Trev Alberts is like a mix of the two. He knows the business side of it. He knows what needs to get done, how to make money, how to spend money, etc. Whatever you got to do there as an athletic director. Then on the personal level, he wants to get to know the coaches.
I think a good description for Trev is that he understands how important relationships are.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Join 93.7 The Ticket tonight, Monday, March 14th, from the Upside Bar and Lounge on 27th and Pine Lake for Ticket weeknights. Nicole Griffith will kick things off from 6 to 8 p.m., followed by Talkin' Tens with Michaela Curtis and Kinsey Roby from 8 to 9 p.m. From 9 to 10, it's Husker swimmer and diver Reagan Hinsey and Audrey Coffey, leading up to our final show of the evening with Amari Smith-Spates and Gwen Maea for In the Pocket from 10 to 11 p.m. Stop by, hang out, and enjoy $3 taco baskets paired with their large selection of house-made margaritas. That's all tonight, live from the Upside Bar and Lounge on 27th and Pine Lake.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy and healthy St. Patrick's Day celebration. We are thankful for the ability to celebrate this year with friends and family as we move past the rough times from the pandemic. This important message comes to you from Bart, Mike, and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Hello, I'm Charlie Stone, back with the latest news from Honda of Lincoln. Joining me now is the general manager, Andy Goodyear. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, with spring right around the corner, how is your supply of new Hondas and pre-owned vehicles?
Really good, Charlie. As I've said before, when you drive by our lot, you don't see what you're looking for, just remember we have hundreds of new Hondas arriving soon, with Honda continuing to offer 0.9% APR financing to qualified buyers. Plus, we have over 125 pre-owned vehicles in stock and ready for immediate delivery.
That's great, Andy. Any more great news?
There is, Charlie. Honda just announced financing from 0.99% APR on certified pre-owned Hondas for qualified buyers.
So come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies at times. It will be windy and cooler. We'll top out near 56, but north winds could gust 25 to 30 by later this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy, low dropping down to 26. We'll see increasing sunshine tomorrow and warmer temperatures as we'll bounce back to around 63. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick, brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It's time for our first Shootout with Strick of the week, as we will give out $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. All you have to do is beat Strick in our shootout, which is a trivia game show here. So call right now, 402-464-5685 to try to be a part of it. As we do have, actually we have some contestants ready to roll. Today's topic is the NCAA tournament, so you should feel pretty good about that. Strick, you've done enough research. It's probably over the past. I'm not sure if this is over the current bracket or the past. We'll have to see as we dive into it.
Let's see.
Yeah, you played some basketball. You've been in that tournament before. You know what's going on there. Let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline where we have Demarshawn. Demarshawn, you feel pretty confident about the NCAA tournament topic here?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
All right, he's feeling pretty good. We'll see if you can get the win.
He ready. Ready. Shoot, yeah, he ready.
Let's roll. First, we'll get Strick. We'll have you run through it, and then we'll see if Demarshawn can beat or at least tie your score so we can get to the tiebreaker. Are you ready, Strick?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Who is the higher seed in this tournament, Texas Tech or Arkansas?
Arkansas.
It's actually Tech. Who's the number 1 seed in the South region, Arizona or Villanova?
Arizona.
That's correct. The classic 5 versus 12 matchup in the Midwest region is Iowa versus who? Akron or Michigan or Richmond?
Richmond.
That's correct. Where will the Final Four be played? Indianapolis or New Orleans?
New Orleans.
It is actually. It isn't. It is New Orleans. And what seed is Michigan State?
8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
8 seed.
They're actually a 7 seed. So
oh my!
Dang it. And I was even stuttering there a little bit, but you did get your 3 points. I think you had enough time to think it over. So that's a pretty good score. We'll see if Demarshawn can beat that. Demarshawn, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Who is the higher seed, Providence or Iowa? Did you say Iowa?
Yes.
It's actually Providence. Who is the number 1 seed in the East region, Baylor or Kentucky?
Baylor.
That's correct. The classic 5 versus 12 matchup in the West region is New Mexico State against who? UConn or Illinois?
Illinois.
It's actually UConn. Who does Indiana face in their first 4 play-in game, Notre Dame or Wyoming?
Can you repeat the question?
Who does Indiana face in their first 4 play-in game, Notre Dame or Wyoming?
Notre Dame.
It is actually Wyoming, and unfortunately, we've run out of time. But we can see if you could get it. You could get the tie if you just guessed it here. What seed is Wisconsin?
6 seed.
They're actually the 3 seed. So unfortunately, Strick gets the win today. But don't worry, Demarshawn. You are just like everybody else right now. Can go ahead and hang up the phone, and then whoever is caller number 3 will win the $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings on behalf of Strick.
Flawless.
On starting 1-0 this week. Yeah, we'll get your soundbite.
Boom shakalaka. Flawless victory.
There it is. Flawless is 1-0. That's flawless.
Let's go, baby. I told you I'm coming. I'm rebounding, baby. I'm coming back. Dang it.
And the bonus question today is who won the ACC championship? The tournament.
Virginia Tech, baby. Let's go.
Right,
Get
yeah.
that money. Get that money.
You'd have had that one too.
Shout out to Ace Custis. Shout out to Ace Custis, my boy. That's how I knew it went down. My man, Ace Custis. I already know what's going on.
Our producer's a Virginia Tech grad, so he threw that in there. I'm sure that's where that question came from. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back here on the block. Plenty more to talk about. Tom Brady's out of retirement. Deshaun Watson seems to be a viable option today. It's basically NFL free agent day. There's a lot of things going on out there, so we'll break some of that stuff down. Coming up next here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
My computer was a dinosaur, and our TV, well, let's just say it was definitely time for an upgrade. But finding a way wasn't so simple. And then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. I earned cash for the study and was able to make those much-needed upgrades. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com. Keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York, so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SEC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possibility.
Husker fans, don't miss your chance to get a first look at this year's Nebraska football team at Memorial Stadium. The annual Husker football red and white spring game is set for Saturday, April 9th at 1 p.m. Tickets are on sale now for only $10. Or for more information, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
Hello, I'm Charlie Stone, back with the latest news from Honda of Lincoln. Joining me now is the general manager, Andy Goodyear. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, with spring right around the corner, how is your supply of new Hondas and pre-owned vehicles?
Really good, Charlie. As I've said before, when you drive by our lot, you don't see what you're looking for. Just remember, we have hundreds of new Hondas arriving soon, with Honda continuing to offer 0.9% APR financing to qualified buyers. Plus, we have over 125 pre-owned vehicles in stock and ready for immediate delivery.
That's great, Andy. Any more great news?
There is, Charlie. Honda just announced financing 0.99% APR on certified pre-owned Honda.
So come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated by a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go loud. So, yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
That was great. We're definitely coming back.
Starter Heyman Jewelers. Lincoln Grand Island. StarterHeyman.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk at the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strickland Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here at the Big 8 tournament.
3-7 The Ticket veteran and lover of bread, Jake Bockelman.
What? I like bread.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Hold up.
We're back on the block. And just like Bach, I'm Strick and I like bread too. Yeah, welcome to On the Block with Strick and Bach here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, where you can find us on all platforms, Twitch. You can also find us on Spotify and also on YouTube at 93.7 The Ticket. We thank you for joining us on the block for the second hour. And to start this segment off, we have Tom Brady is back. The great one, the GOAT one. He is coming back to the NFL this season. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Deshaun Watson, who has got through some of his early ordeals. He will not be charged with any crimes. And so at this point, teams, he will have some suitors that will be looking at him. And we're going to discuss where the potential is that he may find himself for the upcoming season. With that in mind, Tom Brady has announced on Sunday that he would be returning. We also know that wide receiver Chris Godwin has received a franchise tag, which would put him at almost $18 million for that. Being that he's coming off an injury as well, that would be something that would bode well for him. And obviously he doesn't like that because he'd be looking for a longer term deal. Those options are still available. There's probably still some negotiations going on with that. But now the focus shifts to the free agency with legal tampering kicking off on Monday, where you can actually have discussions and then actually talk with people with regards to their potential of joining a team. The players that I think the Bucs would like to keep, there are some of the names. I think they're maybe looking at keeping Carlton Davis, maybe looking to keep the line together. Ryan Jensen, who was a tremendous center, maybe Jordan Whitehead, definitely may have to take into consideration. Leonard Fournette possibly, but then there's others out there in the mix. They're probably got some things to look at with their defensive side with Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul and what's going to happen with them. But Tom Brady's back. Who do you think, Bach, is potential the eyes of the Bucs, organization, their management, their top tier and their brass, who they be looking at trying to secure, being that they're maybe going to have some salary cap issues as well, and who can fit in that mode, and who's going to have to make some adjustments to their salaries.
Yeah, it is interesting because they're 11 million over the cap. They have all those names, like you said, and obviously for us Husker fans, we'd like to see Ndamukong Suh back at least with the relevant team, if it's not with the Bucs. And then he's had a good run there, so that would be up there with one of the name that I would kind of think. Of course, Rob Gronkowski is the other name you kind of think of as well. Maybe certainly past his prime, but he decided to retire and said he wasn't really hiding it, is that he would be interested maybe if Tom Brady came back, and that was the only reason he would be interested in coming back. So it's interesting. They have some decisions to make there. I'm just fascinated by all the stuff kind of going around Tom Brady with this thing as well. The sports books kind of saw a few surprising bets come all in on the Bucs just a few hours before Tom Brady made his announcement. So there's always somebody that kind of knows the inside scoop and trying to make some money off of it. So I thought that was funny. And then there's the case of the man that sold the last NFL touchdown ball that Tom Brady ever threw. It was supposed to be the last. Sold it for $500,000. So somebody paid for that. Now I'm expecting that number probably to drop on how valuable it is. But maybe over time he can get his money back on it.
It could be a return on investment and ROI on that ball. I don't know if he's gonna definitely have to hold on to it for a little bit to get a surge of his ROI.
You think Tom Brady should pay that back?
Oh man, he's got enough paperwork to last a lifetime to do so. It would be something that wouldn't be. I think something interesting though. Obviously you've got to consider they've got to find somebody else on that other side. To make it interesting for Tom Brady. I'm sure some people are out there, some pundits are out there talking about potentially having maybe like someone like Allen Robinson with Chicago to maybe be able to join that receivers room, because you lose Antonio Brown, who was a big piece. I think he was a key piece of them not being able to make a run at a title because they just didn't have enough weapons on the outside, especially with Godwin gone. The other guys just weren't able to step up. I mean, they got close, but they just wasn't able to be those big time wideout. They need somebody that can, stretch and also, make do some damage out there. They just don't have that guy outside of an Antonio Brown. And, obviously a Robinson, he had a young quarterback, 38 receptions for 410 yards, where it didn't look like it was very much that was able, but he's still a very capable. He's still somebody who can get the job done. And he's above average wide receiver who can make the best out of his situation, and none better than Tom Brady to raise Allen Robinson's stock and throwing the ball to him. So I think that would be something that was interesting. Someone else on the defensive side that would be interesting to me would be someone like Marcus Williams. Him basically, coming off the Super Bowl campaign. He's in that secondary. They're looking to bolster that a little bit. They're going to lose a lot of key pieces, especially on the front end, possibly. But somebody on that back end, he has a tendency to get burned at times, but nonetheless, he's a very capable DB, and he could probably be shifted over and moved over and play some great safety for them. He's an elite safety, and so it's something there that can solidify their defense in the back end as well. Those would be a couple of names I'd throw out there that would be, someone I'd be looking to land. Other than than Ryan Jensen and definitely Alex Kappa. Those two on the front end, the center and the guard. You've got to be able to protect him if he's going to be aging, and he's not very mobile. So those are some of the things that I think would be of consideration as well.
Well, it's kind of interesting too, because it looks like, today's free agent day, so these things kind of pop up left and right. It looks like they did just over the last hour. It looks like they've re-signed cornerback Carlton Davis to a 3-year, $45 million contract. So obviously that was high on their priority list. Alex Karp actually is going over to the Bengals.
And they need it. That's big.
Bengals need it. That's a big deal for the Bengals. Not great for Tampa Bay. So we'll kind of see how all this stuff plays out. It's fascinating. Just all the different moves kind of being made today. Maybe you'll overlook a few of them as they're happening, but it's really cool. The Chargers is a good example. They're signing J.C. Jackson from the Patriots, obviously one of the best cornerbacks of the league the last couple of years, to a 5-year, $82.5 million deal. So they're boosting up that defense. And I'm sure they figure their offense is good to go with Justin Herbert in just a crazy division out there now, with Russell Wilson obviously in the fold in Denver and Patrick Mahomes already being out there and in Kansas City. The Chargers, what do you make of that move with J.C. Jackson? They seem to be a program or a franchise on the rise.
Well, shoot, they play in a very tough division. So, I mean, you've got a lot of guys that can get it done on the wideout position. So you definitely would need to bolster that area. You've already got great front edge rushers. Linebacker plays solid. And to be able to have somebody that can cover as well as he can, that would definitely bolster the position. Somebody who has capabilities to cover inside, outside, and so he's very skilled, and so it's going to be good to see how that's going to work out for them. That's big money. That's good for them. Hopefully he can pan out and get it done for them.
Yeah. Some other interesting ones to look at. Maybe not too much commentary on these guys, but maybe I'll throw this one out there. Obviously, Mitchell Trubisky is expected to now sign with the Steelers. There was a big Mitch Trubisky sweepstakes going on. He's going to compete for the starting job there. So you can kind of take the Steelers off of the Deshaun Watson watch list. That was a rumor for a little bit of time. And that's just a tough question to go about overall. Obviously, Deshaun looks like he's getting out of trouble, but do you really want to sign that guy right after Big Ben? He's clearly way better than anybody else on the market. So, it's kind of just an interesting moral discussion, I suppose, to have there. But what do you think about the Steelers' plan, which it seems to be that they've got 2 stopgaps in place, or at least with Mason Rudolph there, a good battle and somebody to rotate if one of them starts to struggle, whoever does win that job.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, both of those guys are just guys that aren't going to, mess up your game. They're ball control type of guys. Trubisky's capable, but their guys is just gonna try to control the game, very similar to what a Garoppolo does. They're not going to be asked much of for the most part. I just don't know if they have the pieces around them. They have some troubling issues there as well, but losing Ben's money is going to give them the opportunity to do some things out there. They probably didn't. I don't know what the contract is for Trubisky, but they're not going to have to overly pay for him. So they're going to have a lot of money to be able to go out and find some weapons. So we'll see kind of how they fill out their roster coming up. I think let's move over and talk about Deshaun Watson, who I'm interested because he's one of the hottest quarterbacks still left out there on the market. I think there are a couple teams that will be open and looking for him. According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers have made separate offers to the Houston Texans, but we also know that Deshaun Watson has a no trade clause. So wherever it is, he's going to have the option to be able to nullify the deal. And so I think Deshaun is going to be looking for who has the most weapons, the best opportunity to be able to come in, make some noise right off the top, not have to go back and to build. He had enough of that down there. They pretty much unearthed everything that he was trying to do in Houston, giving away all of his weapons. DeAndre Hopkins, they start just taking away everybody that was able to do something for him back there. And so now I'm sure he's going to be looking for the best opportunity. To be honest, it's going to be between him probably and Jameis Winston. I think, they're probably taking a look at Jameis Winston at New Orleans and trying to see what's good for him. I think him and Sean Payton had a very good relationship there. But for you, what is your thoughts about the potential of him? I mean, he's been cleared. He's although he's facing 22 civil lawsuits at this time, Harris County, the grand jury did not find enough evidence to charge Watson with any crime following the allegations of sexual misconduct stemming from massage therapy sessions. So that has happened. Everything still remains under investigation by way of the NFL, but at this point, things are cleared, so people have the option to be able to go at Deshaun Watson. What do you see?
Yeah, it's looking like he's going to be able to return to the field. So it's interesting, too, because there's not much talk about whether he would stick with the Texans. That's in that maybe that's just kind of everybody needs a fresh coat of paint there on the Texas side and on his side as well. But I still think, he didn't play last year, but I still have him highly regarded as one of those guys that's a top 8 type of quarterback. Some of those parts of the top 10 can kind of shift here and there, but year in and year out, I think he's one of the best ones in the league. Does he have any rust on him from sitting out a year? He's not terribly, old. He's not aging too much, so I wouldn't expect it too much. It's just fascinating. I think he immediately goes to one of these teams that need a quarterback and can kind of make them a contender. Like you said, Houston kind of broke the team down around him, but they were somewhat competitive with him there throughout the majority of his time. And now you look at, in that division, the NFC South with Tom Brady back with the Bucks, it's kind of leaving everybody else kind of sitting there like, what are we doing? Obviously, the Falcons have Matt Ryan, but how much longer is that the plan? And the Saints and the Panthers are the teams that are most closely linked to Deshaun Watson.
And we don't still know what the Kamara situation is, because that could be a total detriment to what they do there in New Orleans.
Yeah, and I think it would be better if Sean Payton was there, just to have that sustainability, just to feel like, okay, maybe, like you said, Kamara's kind of up in the air, but this is kind of a ready-made team. The coach is in place, and they stuck with the family tree, right? They're keeping one of his assistants around to coach that. So maybe that it kind of still lingers there, what he brought to the locker room. But it's not the same as having Sean Payton as the head coach. That's where I would think that he's going to land in my mind here, because I think they're closer to contending than the Panthers are. Keep in mind, Watson does have a no trade clause, so he's going to have a big say in where he wants to go, and it's likely going to be a contender that he's going to push for rather than.
So you definitely don't see the Seahawks in that.
No, absolutely not. No,
because they're in dire need.
They very much are in need, but they seem to be rebuilding. Everything seems to be trending that direction. So I think that he's going to a contender, and it's just going to be interesting to see even the reaction he gets, because he may be cleared of these charges. But of course, opposing fans aren't going to forget about some of this stuff. So it's going to be a little bit hostile, especially if he goes back to Houston. But maybe after a few weeks, it kind of passes over and he can again establish himself as one of the best quarterbacks in this league. I'm just fascinated by it because, like I said, I think he immediately makes one of these teams, any team in the NFL. There are a lot of the parities so close there that mostly any team is Deshaun Watson away from at least, contending. And, I think some of these teams like the Saints are just really built for that, not just from contending and, being borderline playoffs, but I mean, if the Saints get him, they're right up there in, Super Bowl odds, I would believe.
Well, and that's the crazy thing about it, right? Because at the end of the day, it sounds like Houston is quite adamant that they want 2 to 3 2 minimum, and most likely 3 first rounders to be able to get a Deshaun Watson, who has that ability to package something like that, but also have probably a quarterback that can come in and be a stopgap for them. What do you think about maybe the Vikings or somebody like that? I mean, Vikings still have some weapons there. They have, they definitely have some veteran leadership in Thielen, Hunter, Kendricks is there still. They have a few picks as well. And then you throw in Kirk Cousins possibly. Could something like that get done? Because, or do you think the Vikings maybe are not enough in the mix for that? Maybe the Colts. What do you think about teams like that?
Well, the Colts would be very, very interesting. Again, just going off the reports, it seems like the Panthers and the Saints have already reached out. So at least sometimes first ones to get there might get the job done. But like you said, if you're the Texans, I'd hear out from everybody, listen to what they have to present to you, and then present that to Deshaun, again, who has the no trade clause. So it's going to have to work hand in hand with him. The Texans or the Vikings are interesting. Because Kirk has one more year left on his deal, and his deal is big, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be kind of like a rental there, or, for the Texans at least, kind of give them something to look forward to, but it wouldn't be a massive contract there if you could pair a lot of those draft picks in there. I could see that as something that work. And again,
right.
The Texans have some of the best weaponry in the league. So he would be a top, make that a top tier contender right away.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. We're going to be watching that pretty closely. We'll maybe update that as it comes down the pipeline. But at the end of the day, his case in the grand jury, they did not find any more evidence to be able to pursue forward. Obviously, he will still have to deal with the civil lawsuits, and probably that'll get negotiated out at some point. If I'm him, I'm probably trying to get rid of that as soon as possible and just kind of keep the ire of that out of the space. But nonetheless, there's still some things to watch. So we'll definitely be watching Brady. There's some teams out there that have some weapons, have some money, and there's some deals out there to be made. But you heard it here on the block. We talked about the great one, Tom Brady, coming back and what's got to be done. We're going to watch that closely as well, but we're going to take a break right now. We'll come back after the break with On the Block with Strick and Bach right after this.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great. We're
definitely coming back.
Sure. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy and healthy St. Patrick's Day celebration. We are thankful for the ability to celebrate this year with friends and family as we move past the rough times from the pandemic. This important message comes to you from Bart, Mike, and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Join 93.7 The Ticket tonight, Monday, March 14th, from the Upside Bar and Lounge on 27th and Pine Lake for Ticket weeknights. Nicole Griffith will kick things off from 6 to 8 p.m., followed by Talkin' Tens with Michaela Curtis and Kinsey Roby from 8 to 9 p.m. From 9 to 10, it's Husker swimmer and diver Reagan Himsey and Audrey Coffey, leading up to our final show of the evening with Amari Smith-Spates and Gwen Maea for In the Pocket from 10 to 11 p.m. Stop by, hang out, and enjoy $3 taco baskets paired with their large selection of house-made margaritas. That's all tonight, live from the Upside Bar and Lounge on 27th and Pine Lake.
Springtime is here, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams. From treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
AmeriCorps programs and members are making a huge impact in Nebraska communities near you, addressing critical issues like education, conservation, and even food insecurity. Because of AmeriCorps, the Together Inc. program distributed food to over 54,000 people during the 2020-2021 program year. Learn about AmeriCorps programs serving communities in your region by visiting serve.nebraska.gov. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome to March Baskets at Wings and Rings, the best place to watch all the games. Heads up, there's a new rule in the college tournament. We hope you enjoy it as much as our wings, chicken ringer sandwiches, and club level atmosphere. Here it is. There's no overtime. If the game is tied at the buzzer, we go right to team dodgeball. Grade school rules. It should be fun. I'll see you at Wings and Rings for March Baskets.
Join 93.7 The Ticket for first round action at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O.
2022 is all about staying well. And guess what? There are lots of easy ways to take care of your mental and physical health every day, like eating right and exercising, taking vitamins, drinking water, scheduling those annual doctor's visits, or just resting. That's right, even a quick nap counts. Because let's be honest, these days we could all use a little more wellness in our lives. So stay well, Nebraska. For more ways you can stay healthy, visit staywellnebraska.com.
Koppel Insurance Agency says, accidents happen, but if you're texting and driving, you are an accident waiting to happen. Drive safely and stay alert so our children don't get hurt. This message has been brought to you by Koppel Insurance Agency. If you're looking for insurance, call 402-475-3213. They are honest and fair. For a solid insurance program, Koppel Insurance Agency wishing all a safe spring. Make it that way by driving carefully.
Husker fans, don't miss your chance to get a first look at this year's Nebraska football team at Memorial Stadium. The annual Husker football red and white spring game is set for Saturday, April 9th at 1 p.m. Tickets are on sale now for only $10. To secure your tickets today or for more information, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
And I've told you that Dan Billy Waldrop story where back when you could talk to the players one-on-one, we were just BSing after a practice. And I just said, hey, so where you living? He goes, well, I live over on right off Holdridge Street. I go, you like it over there? He goes, oh, yeah, I'm walking distance from the Dairy Queen.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I have a little bit of bad news to report, although nothing is officially here yet. But I don't know how much of a wrestling fan you were, Strick. But Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, has been on life support. They're taking him off of it now, so things aren't looking great for him.
Wasn't he part of the NWO?
Yeah, he came in with Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan and kind of messed things up over there in the WCW. But he was really cool. He would always his line was always "Hey yo," and he'd kind of get your attention. And he kind of made it cool for bad guys to be cool. So I'll read his quote off, and again, there's nothing official, but it doesn't look too good for Scott Hall right now. But whatever, he kind of made it cool to be a bad guy. So his quote was, "Hard work pays off, dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do." So there you go, Scott Hall. Hopefully, will make it. And I thought it was kind of cool too, because just an account I follow, Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri kind of said, "Has there been anybody that has done more for the toothpick?" Because you could always find Scott Hall walking around with a toothpick. So it's just kind of cool there. And obviously, thoughts and prayers to him and his family there as they kind of deal with that situation. But here on the block, we've got a few minutes to kind of go through a lot of different things. So we're going to jump around a bit. I like kind of how we did that with Steve Sipple. We talked a lot of different sports with him. So we'll do that a little bit here as we go through the storylines of the day. Again, it's a busy day, a lot of stuff going on in free agency. Obviously, a lot of things just going on in sports overall. So we'll get to some of these signings here in free agency and some of the happenings in college basketball. Today, I thought it was interesting. Frank Martin was actually let go at South Carolina. First, the former Kansas State coach who took over in Manhattan. It's been years now after Bob Huggins was let go, but he had some fun teams there. I remember, the Jacob. Was it Jacob Poland and Denny Clemente and all those teams? They were a lot of fun.
Yeah, there were some good runs. Kansas State made some good runs with those teams. They just I was trying to figure out how they did it, how they got guys like that to be able to get down to Manhattan. I thought Lincoln was slow, but it's not as slow as Manhattan.
Oh no, the Little Apple is far from the Big Apple. That's really true. But it's sad. I was surprised to see him let go at South Carolina until I kind of read into it, because he had that Elite Eight run in 2017. Not another South Carolina team under him in 10 years has made the tournament. So obviously, but it'll be interesting. I think he'll get another job if he wants one to see where that goes. Also, over the weekend, Georgia hired Mike White over from Florida. In and of itself, not a huge hire, I suppose, but it's kind of a flex, isn't it, to go and hire your rivals coach there within the SEC?
Horizontal flex.
Yeah.
And Georgia's been bad for a while now. Every time they'll show a spark, they'll beat a team, but for the most part, they've been terrible. I mean, they've got tremendous assets there to be able to build something. I mean, the way you look at it, you've had Alabama make a couple of runs on the basketball side. Now, all of a sudden, Auburn. A lot of people don't know I was actually born literally right down the street from Auburn. People used to ask me when they find out where I was born, they'd be like, "Strick, how come you didn't go to Auburn?" So I'm a big War Eagle. Whenever they play, I'm rooting for Auburn. I don't care how good or bad they are. I'm rooting for Auburn over Alabama all day. But they've made some great runs. Georgia just has been pretty bad for quite a long time. They've brought some talent through there. They've got some guys that have actually been drafted and so forth and so on. But for the most part, they just haven't been able to break out of the mire. It's good to see Tennessee back a little bit. Yeah. They're playing some good ball again. I actually went there on a recruiting visit a long time ago, and it was a phenomenal facility, just huge, to be able to play basketball in and there. So it's good to see them back. But yeah, man, that's a major flex though, to, come up the road. Straight out of Florida, and Florida's not a bad place to have a team. They've obviously had some great success with Donahue and all them down there, Donahue, and that group down there. But hey, we'll see what Georgia can do.
Yeah, it's fascinating because Mike White did replace Billy Donovan, as you were mentioning there, and they haven't quite had that same success, but enough to get Georgia's attention. I usually would think of Florida as the better job there, but Georgia is somewhat of a sleeping giant, as you were saying.
They've got talent, bro. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it. So you're growing into a recruiting den, So if you've got skills and you have some Southeast touch, and you go into Georgia, and you can sell something. Florida has great talent as well, but let's be honest, there's a lot more of it there, in that surrounding area of Atlanta and Athens, and so that part.
Yeah, it's very strange. And you did bring up Tennessee, so I did want to quote on this too, because I was kind of thinking of it, is that Rick Barnes has done so well there. Remember, he was kind of run out of Texas. He was like an all-time coach there, run out because he had a few bad seasons. I don't think Texas has.
He actually coached against us. We played Texas twice.
Yeah, and he was really good. But they, after they ran him out, and this happens so often. I think I guess you could say the same thing for their football program with Mac Brown over there, is that it's like their success hurts them so much that by the time they have a few bad seasons, you want the new guy in. And then Texas football or basketball has never been the same. Of course, the basketball team now doing a little bit better this year with Chris Beard, and maybe that's the answer. But it's just kind of funny that it's been so long that Texas has been relevant in basketball. Meanwhile, Rick Barnes has been able to go and make Tennessee
do
a
it
bit
somewhere
of a power.
else. Go figure, right?
The SEC's coming up a little bit more. I do find it kind of weird because we know the SEC slogan is "It just means more," but when you watch that on their basketball tournament, and I watched a little bit of the basketball tournament, especially the championship game, it doesn't mean more, right? So it's like that's for football. I don't know if you should just put that everywhere. Or maybe it just means more in Kentucky on the basketball side. Would probably be more work out there for him. Some other news as far as college basketball and different moves being made. Pat Chambers, actually the former Penn State coach, who was an assistant at this last year at LaSalle, is going to get another shot at Florida Gulf Coast. So that's kind of interesting for the Big Ten footprint. As people probably know, Pat Chambers, I kind of liked his teams at Penn State. Of course, he was run out of there for some controversial statements he was saying to his players. But as usual, a year on the bench somewhere else can kind of get you rejuvenated there. And so he's going to give it another chance at the former Dunk City, Florida Gulf Coast. I don't know if he can get it going or not there.
Beautiful campus, though.
Yeah.
If anything, beautiful campus.
And they blew up their from making that run a few years ago. They blew up, and so they have a lot more probably money to work with there. So maybe that's how they were a part of getting him. Again, jumping around here, Frank Underwood, as well as Trent Frazier and Coleman Hawkins, all had pink eye yesterday, part of the Illinois basketball team. That's probably not a good omen for them entering the NCAA tournament. I love Frank.
Don't wipe your eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. There's all types of.
Don't eat the bread. Or it'll spread
on how people get pink eye and how it spreads, but that's kind of an embarrassing one for them. But the couple of their players were wearing glasses because of it yesterday.
Yeah,
so at least they're doing their
No, it's a very contagious thing, man. Pink eye is very contagious, bro, and no one really knows how you're able to kind of get it. So it's where it comes from, how it pops up. They just say don't wipe your eyes, wash your hands quite often. But shoot, at the end of the day, a couple got it, then I'm sure it might sprout up a couple more in a few days, possibly. Much around each other. Slapping hands and all of that. Shoot, it itches, so you watch. Yeah, good job, good play. Shoot.
That's just not what I expected to read about today. It says that Illinois had pink eye. Maybe that didn't help them in their tournament type of run there in the Big Ten. Jumping over to the NFL again, it's NFL free agency day, so a lot of these guys are signing and getting ready to roll. But first, I did want to mention this. Do you think of all these quarterback openings, do you think one could go to Colin Kaepernick? Colin Kaepernick is getting a workout put together with Tyler Lockett and his brother. Do you think after years and years away from the league, Colin Kaepernick could make a return?
You see my face? If you're listening on the show, you can't see my face, but the face I just made was like negativo. And they used to have a video box called TiVo, and no, there would not be a Colin Kaepernick on TiVo. I just don't see it. I think this is a gimmick play. I think it's a play to be able to make, some other noise outside of the football arena. But for me, I think Colin Kaepernick is a done easy. Now, a team, there's no team like, for example, the Seahawks, which most of those guys there. They're rebuilding. They're not going to be looking for a Colin Kaepernick type. just go down. Yes, it's probably the best time to pull this gimmick and try to do something like this, right? Because there's so many there are not so many quarterbacks out there right now.
Yeah.
But let's go down. Let's just take a second before we go to the break. Break it down. Tell me where a Colin Kaepernick could go right now in this specific free agency that would make sense.
I don't know. I don't think really.
There you go. There's really nobody with that type of what he brings or brought. He definitely can't go back to the 49ers. The Indianapolis Colts offense don't even fit his style. No Atlanta, no Tampa Bay. They definitely wouldn't want him in Miami with who they got down there right now. Denver says negative. 49ers, Raiders, Carr. I mean, you just go down the whole block, and the Texans are just going to probably get rid of Deshaun Watson, and there would be no reason to take a Colin Kaepernick. So I just look up and down the board. It's not going to happen in Cleveland. It's not going to happen in definitely in Minnesota. So Green Bay, laugh at that one. You know what I mean? It's like it's a freaking laughing stock to think of where he could go.
I think, I mean, at 34 years old, hasn't played since since 2016. Yes. I think that alone sets him apart as a long shot. But I also think it sets him into the maybe looking for a backup type of role more so than the starter. But the problem there is, do you trust Colin Kaepernick to not be a distraction on the team, right?
That part.
Is it worth a backup role to potentially have a distraction on the team? Probably not.
There's already enough distractions out there right now. Yeah, I mean, you've got what's going on in Vegas. You've got Kamara now in Vegas too. You got everything's popping off in Vegas right now. So be mindful of when you go to Vegas to get it cracking. So there's too much trouble and mire out there to just bring in it.
And just wrapping up too on some of these NFL free agent signings though, because there's some interesting ones today. As we mentioned, the Chargers are getting J.C. Jackson on a big deal, so it really boosters up that defense, which is looking quite dangerous at this point now. Teddy Bridgewater on a 1-year deal with the Dolphins. Obviously, that's not a starting gig. That's a guy that you thought might be on the starter line. But maybe there to push Tua, and maybe that ultimately might take Tua's job, but we'll see. That's a kind of interesting signing there. James Conner sticking with a 3-year deal in Arizona, probably well warranted, as he was coming off near a Pro Bowl year if he didn't quite make it. Some of the other interesting notes today: Browns released Jarvis Landry, who's of course a 5-time Pro Bowler, but things as well with Odell didn't work out in Cleveland. Of course, they are bringing in Amari Cooper, so just kind of a change of a face there as far as at least they'll still have a Pro Bowl wide receiver there, but you won't be able to pair him with Jarvis Landry now. The Jaguars had a busy day. They're adding Brandon Scherff, who's a 5-time Pro Bowler, former top 10 pick, and Christian Kirk, who actually led the Cardinals in receiving yards last year. They signed him to a big deal. Also, Panthers edge rusher Hassan Reddick has now signed with the Eagles. He's had 23.5 sacks over the last couple of years, and I think those were pretty much the big deals that I saw earlier on in the day. Again, these things have continued to kind of break out throughout the day and will continue in the next few days. So keep an eye on it. NFL free agency, always really fun to watch and see what happens there. The Jaguars have just been, they've been very, very active. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see what teams are kind of beating everybody else to the punch, or who has the most dollars to work with. But certainly an interesting day for NFL free agency. We'll take a quick break though here on The Block. We'll be right back. We have to close things out here with hitting the hardwood, and lots to talk about regarding Kyrie. Of course, he had a great performance over the weekend and slowing Philly's momentum down. So we'll talk about that. Also, KG gets his number retired in Boston. Well-deserved. Is Ray Allen next? Ray Allen was there. The big three had a hug. Maybe the beef is over. We'll talk about all that next here on The Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
Springtime is here, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams. From treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
Welcome to March Baskets at Wings and Rings, the best place to watch all the games. Heads up, there's a new rule in the college tournament. We hope you enjoy it as much as our wings, chicken ringer sandwiches, and club level atmosphere. Here it is. There's no overtime. If the game is tied at the buzzer, we go right to team dodgeball. Grade school rules. It should be fun. I'll see you at Wings and Rings for March Baskets.
Join 93.7 The Ticket for first round action at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today. Husker fans, don't miss your chance to get a first look at this year's Nebraska football team at Memorial Stadium. The annual Husker football red and white spring game is set for Saturday, April 9th at 1 p.m. Tickets are on sale now for only $10. To secure your tickets today or for more information, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111. Join 93.7 The Ticket tonight, Monday, March 14th, from the Upside Bar and Lounge on 27th and Pine Lake for Ticket weeknights. Nicole Griffith will kick things off from 6 to 8 p.m., followed by Talkin' Tens with Michaela Curtis and Kinsey Roby from 8 to 9 p.m. From 9 to 10, it's Husker swimmer and diver Reagan Hinsey and Audrey Coffey, leading up to our final show of the evening with Amari Smith-Spates and Gwen Maea for In the Pocket from 10 to 11 p.m. Stop by, hang out, and enjoy $3 taco baskets paired with their large selection of house-made margaritas. That's all tonight, live from the Upside Bar and Lounge on 27th and Pine Lake.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsuranceNE.com.
Hi, welcome to Big Chain Bar and Grill. Can I get you a drink? Which game were you hoping to see? Doesn't matter. I don't know what channel the game's on anyway. Are you ready to order? Okay, here's your check. Come back and see us again, okay? What?
Hey, welcome back into Upside. Slow down and enjoy the game at the Upside Bar and Lounge. Comfortable seating, plenty of screens, a great food and drink menu, and no one trying to shove you out the door. Come in, hang out, and take it all in at the Upside Bar and Lounge, open daily just east of 27th and Pine Lake.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Sun Valley Lanes and Games is now offering spring sand volleyball leagues. Sand volleyball leagues are 9 weeks long beginning April 3rd. Registration's available online at sunvalleylanes.com. Use the promo code 93.7 to save 5%. That's sunvalleylanes.com, promo code 93.7. Volleyball not your thing? They also offer fun cornhole and bowling leagues. Visit sunvalleylanes.com for complete details.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Hello, I'm Charlie Stone, back with the latest news from Honda of Lincoln. Joining me now is the general manager, Andy Goodyear. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, with spring right around the corner, how is your supply of new Hondas and pre-owned vehicles?
Really good, Charlie. As I've said before, when you drive by our lot, you don't see what you're looking for, just remember we have hundreds of new Hondas arriving soon, with Honda continuing to offer 0.9% APR financing to qualified buyers. Plus, we have over 125 pre-owned vehicles in stock and ready for immediate delivery.
That's great, Andy. Any more great news?
There is, Charlie. Honda just announced financing from 0.99% APR on certified pre-owned Hondas for qualified buyers.
So come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It is time for Hitting the Hardwood here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket, and we're going to focus specifically on the NBA and specifically in the Atlantic division, where we've got some storylines coming out of Boston, Brooklyn, and Philadelphia. We'll start with the hot button issue, which is Kyrie Irving. We were set to talk, and we will talk a little bit about what he did over the weekend, but every time, I swear, every time Kyrie Irving, you plan something to talk about with him, there's always some sort of other news that's going to pop up with him. And again, that happened today. So we'll talk about his play on the court. But once again, the Nets were fined $50,000 this past weekend because he attended a game. That's not the problem. He attended a home game. Obviously, he's not allowed to play there because he's unvaccinated, and in New York City kind of mandates for their employers to be vaccinated there. So that's kind of the problem there. While other players, opposing teams, can bring their unvaccinated players on the court. So that's kind of been silly all year long. Added to the silliness now is that he went in street clothes, he went and watched the game, but he went in the locker room afterwards, and that's where the problem is. So now they were fined $50,000 for it, which means which I don't think would be any more than if they had throughout the game against the Knicks, where they won either way, 110-107.
Bro, that is the most asinine thing I've ever heard in my life. Bro, it would be no different than 2 Chainz, Snoop Dogg, Drake. Anybody that goes in the locker room afterwards. He was not participating in the game. Now you're out here doing crazy, man. They're setting a crazy precedent with stupid stuff like that. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, bro.
Yeah, it is quite a bit funny, but we live in a funny world.
Oh my God, I can't even talk right now. That is so stupid. I just heard. Anyway, okay, back to
what it's worth. Kyrie on the court has been doing pretty good as of late. Last Tuesday, about a week ago, he had 50 points on 19 shots, which was pretty impressive in victory over Charlotte. And then, of course, all these games being road games, right? He's not playing at home. But over the weekend too, or on Thursday, excuse me, beating Philadelphia, the 76ers.
He gave James Harden that. Say it again. Okay, let you finish. I was just about to say.
Oh yeah. I was just saying that Philadelphia has won 6 of their last 7, so the Nets might have kind of halted their movement, their post James Harden trade movement, by not just Kyrie doing what he did, which was 22 points and 5 assists to help lead the Nets, but the 76ers really bogged him down, like you were saying.
He gave James Harden and anybody that wanted smoke the business. The way that they played against them, I had to think twice. At first, I was like, ooh, Embiid, boom. Oh, Tyrese Maxey balling. He out of Dallas, Texas, by the way. I got to referee him some when I was reffing. Great young man. But at the end of the day, I'm like, ooh, Philly, 6. Yo, they coming along. They look nice. And then Brooklyn was like, hold up, wait a minute, let us put some buckets in it. I mean, they started giving them that work, and they just let them know. And James Harden, he was frustrated all night. He was getting ripped. He was getting crossed up. He was, They just basically looked at him and like, now we get to do it to you. You know, you bump them gums. Now I get to do it to you. You came in fat as a house. Now I get to do it to you. So yeah, I like how that went down. That's the type of stuff I like. You know?
Well, it was interesting too, yeah, because KD and Joel were talking back and forth to each other, so that's kind of fun. They don't necessarily have a history of liking each other too much, but it's also fascinating because the 76ers maybe seemed after that trade to be the team to beat in the East, or maybe it's still the Nets, and that's kind of what we're all waiting to see. And the Nets got that win, obviously, with Kyrie Irving in play. Would it be the same on when the Nets play at home?
Pay the fine.
Is how it is, yeah. But we'll see.
If you want the ship, pay the fine.
That's what's interesting, though. Yeah, and I think that they should just pay the fine and let them play, especially if it's a playoff game. But out there in the East, it's going to be fascinating. The Nets still 35-33 with everything that they've gone through. You would still put them right up there with the 76ers as the favorites in the East, but they might play a play-in game. How wild would it be for the Nets? And for what it's worth, any team in the 7 to 10 seed plays in that play-in game now in the NBA to get into the 7 and 8 seed. How wild would it be to be down to a 1-game sample size if the Nets even have a chance at 7-game series?
That'd be wild. It would be wild. But again, you've had significant injuries in KD. Getting more games and more time on the court, in the recovery process of all that stuff is always valuable because it gets so intense in the playoffs. The scouting reports get tremendous focus. Everything starts to kind of come down. Lockdown defense starts to happen. The adjustments that need to be made. So you got to hope not only that you have a coach, but you also have a player with diversity of his game and to be able to do so many things and to get back into shape. And, so I'm not going to say that you want to do that, but at the end of the day, getting more games with each other is not a bad idea, but pay the fine.
The other thing going on in basketball over the weekend, the Celtics didn't win their game, but they did go ahead and retire KG's jersey. So now there's the
big ticket.
300 jerseys retired up there in Boston. It's hard to get any of the numbers left because they retire all the numbers.
All the numbers going up that joint. Yeah, hey, listen, we got a recycle plan going on in Boston right now. I know you like not to wear it, but at the end of the day, baby, we're running out. We can't just have 99s and 98s going on out here. We need to be able to recycle some of this.
Yeah, they're going to have to allow you to at least wear the jerseys that are retired because there's so many of them up there. And I don't think you have too many complaints. The big ticket kind of changed the culture there in Boston, bringing back a championship mentality. Now the question is should Ray Allen also have his jersey retired there, as the other two of the big three, Pierce and Garnett, have their jersey retired. Obviously, there was a beef between Ray Allen. He eventually was getting benched. A young Avery Bradley was better suited to start along a young Rondo at the time, and he was going to be coming off the bench. He went to Miami, obviously won the title there with the big shot. Do you think that the forgiveness is there and that Ray Allen should also have his name in the rafters at the Garden?
Where do you put Ray Allen's jersey in the rafters? Do you do it in Milwaukee? Do you do it in Boston?
Right. He's an
or
all-star.
do you do it in Miami? So that's what it's going to come down to, I think, of where do you do it? I don't think you do it in all three. Personally, he had his greatest run in Milwaukee, I think. That was when he was at his peak of excellence. He's always been an excellent shooter and has been able to do, definitely been a third option most of the time when he got down in the later last of his years. But I think it should go up in Milwaukee, to be honest.
It's interesting.
But I don't think Boston should be where he had his tenure. Yes, he got him a ship, helped him. But I think either there or Miami.
I'll always be on Team Rondo in that argument. And for what it's worth, Rondo also had more All-Star appearances than Allen did at his time there, so maybe Rondo's numbers should go up there. But we'll have to talk about it tomorrow as our show is up. Thanks for listening to On the Block.
Hi, welcome to Big Chain Bar and Grill. Can I get you a drink? Which game were you hoping